Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the Chris Voss Show.com. Hey, we're coming to you live from beautiful Las Vegas, my living room. How do you think that? So we're going to talk about several subjects today and kind of get an idea of what we think. I've been changing on the format of what I've been doing with Facebook, what I've been doing with my public notices, things as such on social media. So you may start noticing a difference this week. We started this new thing where Monday through Friday, I'll be doing a 7 o'clock show, as we're doing now, to talk about top news topics of the day, stuff that maybe I thought it was funny, stuff that I want to comment on. What you'll start seeing is throughout the day, me doing little video posts or video snippets on top things that I want to talk about throughout the day and kind of maybe a summary show at 7 p.m. You'll also notice that I'm no longer writing on Facebook. Facebook doesn't pay me to post there or to hold my content. And a lot of people don't get the jokes unless they see them delivered in the way that I would deliver them. Some people read my stuff and, they just have no comedic ability in going, oh, that's funny. So there's some big changes there. You notice I'm not posting as much. Now, one thing I do know is that Facebook is going to fight me on this, and they're going to bury my posts that are YouTube posts, and that's fine. We're really all about putting this stuff on YouTube. And if Facebook wants to be assholes with their edge rank, they're certainly welcome to. What's going to happen is I'm not going to post that much, and the very few posts that will go on Facebook will be YouTube videos, and I'm sure they'll have to serve something to somebody. So I do hope that you'll subscribe to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Chris Voss. And that way you can get updates on the show. We're going to go ahead and pre-program it. Every morning, we're going to announce the topics I want to talk about on the 7 o'clock show. And you have a chance as listeners or readers or watchers to interact with the show by posting comments, things maybe you think I should talk about, maybe commentary that I want to draw from when we come to the 7 o'clock show. So it's a chance for you guys to cook the show, as it were, and at 7 o'clock, we'll serve it up to you. No guests tonight. We didn't have anybody available for us. Some people were kind of tenure, but wanting to come next week and get involved then. So let's get into some of the topics we want to talk about today. And of course, like I said, subscribe to the channel, give us a like, give us some support, because this is how it's coming out now. There's not going to be any more long typed out Facebook posts. You're going to see it on a video on YouTube, or you're not going to see it at all. So there's that. So Morley Schaefer, the 60 Minutes newsman for CBS, passed away at 84. I grew up watching Morley Schaefer. I grew up with 60 Minutes and CBS News. I come from that era of news channels where there was 3 major channels: ABC, NBC, and CBS. And that's pretty much where you got your TV from. If you lived in California, you had a bunch of whole kind of offbeat channels that you couldn't tune in very well on I think it was the UFF or VHF or UHF or VHF areas. And, you could watch like shitty Chinese, Japanese movies. Most of the times it was Godzilla. So when I grew up, 60 Minutes was the de facto truth tellers. They were the guys who got to the core of what was going on in the world. And you really felt like those are the guys you could trust. Morley Schaefer, I grew up watching. 60 Minutes was just an amazing news source, and the way they deliver the news, the way they investigated stuff. It was just amazing to watch them and all the other great news reporters that came out of the show. One of my favorites with these 60 Minutes was always waiting for Andy Rooney. And I really miss Andy Rooney doing his bit. And he always just had this hard, sharp, whipping humor that was just so exact, so cutting, but so funny at the same time. And so I always look forward to 60 Minutes. It's like, is it time for Andy Rooney yet? But they always had great newsmen on the show. I forget some of the other names. It's been so long since I started watching it. And a lot of the greats kind of came and went. Never really got into the new stuff, and I started just avoiding the news altogether. But yeah, Morley Schaefer just seemed one of those great guys. When you grew up with him, you're like, man, I wish that dude could be my dad. He seems so cool. He seems so smart and everything else. Not to say that my dad wasn't cool or smart, but he just seemed to be that guy who had it put together. So very sad to see him pass. He lived to 84, so he got a damn good life out of it. And I think he worked up until last year. So rest in peace, Morley Schaefer. And you definitely made an impression on people. I think he's one of the other people who's had an effect. I know that other people on 60 Minutes to the Past had an effect on me as well, at trying to get to the truth, trying to get to the bottom of things, questioning your reality, questioning, what's going on, what's the real story at the bottom of things. And I think that really helped develop my mind as a young person, to where I've learned to look for, okay, what is the truth? What is the reality? Where are we going? Is this really what we see on the surface, or is there a deeper story that tells us something different once we dig? And so it opened up those thoughts, processes in my mind. And I've always been a big 60 Minutes fan. They always seem to do just great stories. And the funny thing is, they didn't do stories like news as stories. Nowadays, the news just kowtows to just stupid entertainment or crazy shit like Donald Trump. These guys did hard-hitting stories you didn't see coming. You never knew what was going to happen. And so it's kind of the death, if you will, of that whole news era, where, people weren't just, it wasn't CNN going, Kim Kardashian did this today. So there you have it with that. A couple other things that are in the news that interest me in the world of tech. Wow. Nokia and Microsoft. Microsoft just sold off a huge portion of the original Nokia purchase that it took and did, where it bought a bunch, where it bought Nokia and the phone systems. Wow. Looking at the chart, they were losing, by the time they announced it to the time they acquired it, Nokia lost half its sales. Does that tell you how much consumers were excited by being taken over by Microsoft? And Microsoft just botched it too. They put out these cheap shit, crappy phones. Nokia always had these great phones that were beautiful. The only problem was they had Windows on them. And when I gone to one of the Nokia offices, they gave us a private tour of how they tested phones, sound, and everything else, how they put the work into them, how to drop test them to see if they were going to break, and keyboards and everything, the screens, to make sure that they would hold up to punishment of life. I said to them, I said, you know what you guys need? You need an Android on a Nokia phone, and that would make all the difference in the world. And their answer was, well, it's possible that we've done that. We'd really like to see what that result looks like. They had done it. So talk about a giant mess. Microsoft has written down almost all the money they paid for it, a $7.6 billion impairment charge of the acquisition, which is pretty much they bought it for 7.9. So they pretty much wrote all of it off as an impairment charge. And now they've sold a portion of the rights to, I believe, the Foxconn people are a Foxconn subsidy. Foxconn's actually working to make its own phone divisions so that it can keep Apple from getting out of line, or keep Apple minding their manners. So that should be very interesting as that story develops. Nokia, on the other hand, has done a deal with all three parties so it can get the name back and start working with phones again. I think most of it may be kind of licensing or influencing it, and Foxconn will do the hard work. But very interesting. You evidently, from what you're going to see as a result of it, is you're going to see Nokia phones with Android on them. And I would love to see that. They were great phones. They were well built. They were way ahead of their times in many cases. The only problem was they had Windows on them. And if Nokia had just not put Windows on them, they probably would have had a phone that could go up against Samsung, go up against Apple. Recently I was sitting around, and AT&T has always provided review phones to us for several years, and we appreciate their support. I was sitting around and I noticed, I was like, I haven't got a new phone lately. What is going on? Where's where's the new phones? And I looked on AT&T site, and there's really no new phones coming out. And it's, the market has really changed to where it's become more of a commodity, and these hot new phones are constantly coming out, and people are trying to get an edge up on the market. It's really become kind of bland and boring. In fact, I've seen some of my other viewers that usually are always have the hottest, latest phones. They're doing these videos and they're just like, well, let's talk about this, because the phones aren't there. I even looked at my YouTube channel and I'm like, wow, we don't have a lot of phone videos anymore, because there's not just all these phones just flooding the market where people are trying to get an angle. And I think people realize, especially Apple, that the phone market has peaked. In fact, Apple is off its high of 2-year high, or it's erased its 2-year high of gains and is back down. Now, Warren Buffett, I believe yesterday, the day before, just bought a huge share of them, but I don't know if that will help much. It will probably put him eventually on the board so that he can argue with those folks. But all in all, it should be interesting. But yeah, I'm not seeing this huge swath of great phones. I used to have piles of phones around the house that we were always testing, reviewing, doing comparisons with. Now, not a lot. I mean, it's just Samsung seems to be the most popular. I don't really see too much of HTC pushing really hard anymore. And of course, they're in their own financial world with that. Who else do we not see a lot of anymore? HTC. I don't see Nokia phones, of course. I don't see the Windows phone. I think we got 1 or 2 of the first Windows phones from AT&T, and just Microsoft just made the crummiest, crappiest, junkiest, plasticiest phones you could possibly make, and they were still trying to command top dollar with them. And it was just the most saddest thing ever. It was just a complete imploding and destruction of the brand. So very sad to see that thing happening. They were still trying to command top dollar. Looks like I'm listening to myself. Chris, it's me, Expertise 12. Hey, how you doing? One of my friends that I play with on the PS4 on Destiny. So let's talk about some of the other subjects that are going on. This thing is really disturbing to me, and it's disturbing to me for a fact that over the last few years that these people have been running this scam, they have probably fucked up a lot of people's health, maybe had them take drugs they didn't know, maybe some people died because of it. But a company named Theranos, if you're familiar with them, got started. It was a fledgling company that just came rocketing out of nowhere in the startup business of Silicon Valley, with this new blood testing method that this gal had developed. And they brought on all these top, government people that have been really successful into the board, and they brought on all this money, and they created this whole thing that they had this new way, this new technology to do blood processing. And even as much as I've read about blood processing, how it works, what goes into it, I've realized that there's these guys probably don't have what they say they have, and they finally admitted to it. Today they announced that they're retracting or recalling or canceling out. I think it's tens of thousands. Is it tens of thousands? Tens of thousands of corrected blood test results, and they voided pretty much 2 years of data that they use with their special device that no one's ever seen, heard, or used. It's a secret that only the CEO seems to know about, and I guess some of the few people at the top. They reconfigured their board, which is probably important. I'm not sure why they haven't ejected the CEO, the guy who created this whole mess. They've just ejected the second in command, who was also under threat from I believe the FCC or the FTC, to be banned from the business. So they brought in some people to clean up the mess. But imagine, if you will, I mean, that is in itself a crime, but how many people have maybe had their health destroyed, or didn't get the help they need, or get problems that they might have needed taken care of because they were literally not getting the proper results in their blood tests? I mean, it's just a tragedy of epic proportion. This person, or whoever persons that they find that are guilty of this crime, need to go to jail. they should go to jail for a very long time because you fuck with people's health. I mean, that's horrible. That's just the most awfulest thing in the world. So I'm hoping that more will come of it when it comes to cleaning house and making sure these people feet are held to the fire for their thing. So there's that. So Theranos, keep watching that story. I'm sure it's going to get worse as it goes. And there'll probably be lawsuits. I'm sure some lawyers right now are sitting around going, it's time for a class action lawsuit. Sadly, there's a whole lot of companies that are pulled into this. Like I believe Walgreens is one of the companies that said they wanted to work with them and put their things in place. The Wall Street Journal reported that means that some patients received erroneous results on their blood tests that may have thrown off their health decisions they made with their doctor. Can you imagine getting horrible blood test results and maybe they decide to do cancer on you or whatever it is? That's just criminal beyond criminal and mind-blowing that a company would get away with that in today's world. And there was a lot of people that were yelling bullshit, people in the medical business, people that were aware of what was going on when it comes to blood testing and what that's about. And they just some sort of giant scam has been perpetrated, and it is in fact a tragedy. And I'm sure we'll have more of it. There'll probably be lawsuits. I'm surprised that a company can even keep going with that sort of thing. I mean, I'm surprised it just doesn't shut down and end on that note, if you will. So to wrap up today, Morley Schaefer, there's some more changes coming to the Chris Voss Show. Make sure you do subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/Chris Voss. I certainly appreciate it. Give this a video some like, give us some love so we can keep bringing you content. And we want to have more interviews, more guest shows. But you're going to see more videos being done during the day that are little snippets or pieces of what I think on different things. In essence, what you're getting from me is instead of me making snippets of typed things on Facebook about what I think or my thoughts are on news of the day, you're going to get video snippets. And this way, you're going to know whether maybe it's funny or not. You're going to get to know what my inflection is. And of course, YouTube, make sure I get a check every month. So that will be more beneficial for both of us in our thing. And you may find the videos are more entertaining, or I can expand more or do more. So that may be very interesting. Anyway, kind of a sullen thing with Morley Schaefer dying today. And definitely he lived a great life, did some amazing things. Oh, almost 1,000 shows that he did. Just amazing. So anyway, thanks for tuning in to the Chris Voss Show. I hope to see you tomorrow. Tomorrow will be our last day before the weekend. Monday through Friday we'll be doing this. I think we might do snippets over the weekend if we see stuff that we like. But we'll stay tuned on what that is. And like I said, you're not going to see posts of me on the Facebook anymore, writing stuff. You're going to see video. So if you want to see it, subscribe to YouTube. We'll see you over there. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. If you have questions or comments, please put them below. Give us a like on the video and always subscribe. Thanks for coming by.